Welcome back. We would like to take some time out now to talk about something that you have probably heard about and often wondered about. It is the world of miniatures. The Tucson Miniature Society is here with us. Well, not the entire society, but we would like to welcome two members, Judy, Fink, and Casey Rice. Welcome to Tucson AM.
Thank
And
you.
I feel very big all of a sudden with, in comparison to what you have brought with you. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the hobby itself of miniatures. Now, it's got an awful lot of people involved in it. It's the third largest hobby. Is that true?
Approximately, yes.
Behind
stamps and coins.
Stamps and coins,
Mm-hmm.
longtime favorites. How would you describe the hobby itself of miniatures? I mean, it's not something that I think that people run into every day.
Well, you don't run into it every day, but a lot of people are into it, and it's something that's addictive. You start out with maybe one piece that you see someplace that's really cute, and it builds until you have a whole house full.
Now, Casey, you have brought a bedroom with you, a miniature, an example, and it's a good example of exactly what it is that you do. This is, and it's kind of tough to make it out, but it's actually a bedroom within a bedroom within a bedroom. If people can look at that square over the bed, the middle one on the bottom, there is actually another little replica of that bedroom inside that shelf, just there on the right of the screen now. And it's tough to make it out, but it's almost like that effect of putting a mirror up against a mirror and looking further and further in. Now, how long would something like this take you to put together?
Well, that one took approximately 2 weeks full time, you know, working
like an 8-hour day.
probably close to an 8-hour day.
How did you get involved in this?
One piece at a time, just like I said. You know, you see something that, you pick up a magazine that has miniature in it, and you go from there. You just get fascinated with the world of miniatures, and it just kind of snowballs.
Right. Judy, how long have you been involved?
About 6 years that I've been in there.
What drew you to it?
Well, some friends and I decided one summer that we wanted to make doll houses, and so we started with just a very inexpensive, and this word throws you. They start out saying an inexpensive doll house from one sheet of plywood, and that doesn't work. It mushrooms, and you buy windows to go with this sheet of plywood. And one of the fallacies of people's thinking on miniatures, they think it's like kids' toys that you're going in the toy shop and buy. And most of our miniatures are things that, hands off, please. You don't want the kids to touch them or play with them. Right. And a lot of them, you want them to be working, you know, like the drawers open and cupboards to have dishes in them and this type of thing.
Casey, how about the history? I mean, how long, not just here in Tucson, but how long have miniatures been, you know?
Well, if you want to go way back, it goes all the way back to Egypt and Rome, and, you know, as far back as you can get.
Really? They've
dug them up in the tombs in Egypt and in the tombs in Rome, or, you know, the Roman.
Now, are they pretty sophisticated? I mean,
the ones in Egypt, they'll have funerary boats that are, you know, to take the Egyptian kings to the hereafter, and they're totally detailed and like a working boat with oars and the whole thing.
Now, how about the history of the society itself here in Tucson?
It's about 12 years old, I think. We aren't original members. There are some older than we, but we've been having a show here in Tucson for this will be the 9th year.
Judy, you also brought some work with you that we can take a look at. How relaxing is it to work with something like this? I would think that if you looked at something that small for that long, that it would be anything but a hobby.
I use a magnifier, and it's one that goes over your head, and the magnifier is in front, and my kids say that there's Mom going down in the coal mines again. I have this. But you do have to have patience and a steady hand, and you have to have tools that are made for miniatures in order to be able to do the fine saw cuts and, you know, have your little clamps that'll hold things that are being glued. And, yeah.
Now, do you ever get people who request miniatures? I mean, that they would like their house done in miniature or something like that? Can you do that kind of work for them?
No,
Casey does. I've been doing just for myself, but Casey does things
I
for sale.
Do some. I haven't had anybody say I want my house done, because I think that would be a little bit expensive, you know, because building it would be just like building a regular house.
Yeah.
You have frame it out and you do the timber work and
A lot of work.
uh-huh.
Now, you have a show coming up that we would like to tell people about. When is it? Where is it? Things like that.
Well, it's at the Women's Club, which is near Speedway in Wilmot, and it's November 9 and 10.
8th and 9th.
8th and 9th. I'm sorry. It's on a
That's
Friday.
okay.
It's on a Saturday
Those
and
are
a
big
Sunday in November, the first weekend in November.
Now, what can
And-
people expect to see when they go there?
Well, we will have a display room with similar displays like we brought today that will be by the club members, and the dealers will bring displays. Some will be judged and some will be for display only. And then the big room at the Women's Club will be filled with dealers selling miniatures.
Okay. Is it tough on the eyes to do this kind of work?
Yeah, I think I've needed glasses for the last 3 years now, and I'm resisting. But
We have the phone number that people can call if they would like more information about your society and about the show, the Tucson Miniature Society.